We have known for some time that gun buybacks simply do not work. Either they're collecting just junk laying around that, like lady's husband dies and he's got like a couple old shotguns and she offs them for a $50 gift card when they're worth a couple $100. I do not advocate that you do this. And that they don't actually target the weapons that they're trying to get off the street, which are crime guns. But in addition to that, we know statistically that they create more crime guns because people go around and steal them from other people to turn them in for gift cards at a buyback. However, normally we assume that those thefts are being perpetrated by people on the street who then come and turn those guns in for the incentive, right? Yeah, well, I'm going to take you to San Antonio, Texas, where we have an officer, David Mahula, who got caught red-handed doing exactly that, stealing from the gun buyback. Boys and girls, start another column over there and put a mark in it for bad consequences resulting from an ill-conceived idea that is the gun buyback. We're going to talk about this and a little bit more after we hear a word from today's sponsor. Today's video is brought to you by XS Sights. They are my preferred source for tritium night sights, as well as several other products that they make that are just fantastically executed. Highly recommended. I've been using them for almost a decade now. They also now do fiber optic sights for those of you who want to enhance your target shooting. And of course, they do everything from shotgun beads to AK post sights, ensuring that regardless of the sighting solution, XS is the brightest sight in any light. San Antonio police hold this gun buyback. A little bit ago. And this officer, David Mahula, is an 18-year veteran of the force and decides to walk off with 3 firearms from said gun buyback. One of them was a 1911, so a handgun, and 2 shotguns. And he, when questioned about this, said that he did so to protect those firearms due to their historical value, if you will. Well, I could probably buy the 1911, maybe. I haven't seen a picture of it. I could maybe buy that for the 1911, but the other guns were a Ruger 20-gauge shotgun and a Remington 12-gauge shotgun. I'm assuming that those are modern vintages. There aren't a whole lot of really expensive Remington and Ruger shotguns. Okay. Usually you find expensive shotguns in the Ithacas, some of the really high-end trap guns, things like that. I'm not saying that it's impossible that that's what that is, but I'll maybe cut him a little bit of slack on the 1911, perhaps being a, old style, historically relevant firearm, except for that he stole them. And he apparently, from reading the articles on this, was seen by an aide performing this action, putting them into his own personal vehicle, and the aide essentially ran it up the chain. They went and looked at the surveillance video and indeed confirmed that he did walk off site with those firearms. That was 3 out of 900 and some guns that were collected at the gun buyback. Again, to flesh out and reiterate what I said in the intro, gun buybacks do not work. Generally speaking, the weapons recovered from a gun buyback are weapons that are old, in disrepair. They were heirlooms handed down. Sometimes they are expensive weapons. Like, you remember the one images that we saw of like the old STG 44 that some old lady was turning in because it was her husband's. She had no idea that was a transferable machine gun worth tens of thousands of dollars. So on one side, we have the ineffectual nature of gun buybacks. They don't actually target the weapons that we would supposedly, quote unquote, want off our streets. But in addition to that, they waste the public funding for these types of things. A case in point, it looks like This is the first gun buyback that they've attempted to do. They tried, well, excuse me, this is the first successful gun buyback that they pulled off. They had tried to pull one off previously, but couldn't get the funding. And there's another one in November through this same police department. We as a people need to stop funding this sort of thing. And I think the best place to accomplish this is with the FFLs that enable this sort of thing to happen. So if you aren't following, generally speaking, what happens is the police departments collect these weapons and then they transfer them to some business entity that specializes in destruction. These business entities then cut up the serialized portion as per the ATF guidelines and then resell the parts. We broke this story, months and months and months ago. The people in New York got their panties in a wad big time over this. That needs to no longer be an acceptable business practice because oftentimes these companies give the service to the law enforcement agencies free of charge, provided that they are allowed to resell those components. I propose that it is $10,000 per unit. Doesn't matter if it's a high point or if it's a Barrett 50 cal. After that, they can come get their components if they want to. You hold them for a week or two. And then after that, you can give them away to a good cause so they don't come pick them up. But it needs to be painful for these agencies to participate in this. 933 guns times 10,000. That is a good revenue stream for any kind of company. I don't care how your scale is. But seriously, if you wanted to accomplish this, make it $1,000. 933 times 1,000 is $933,000 that your company just invented out of thin air. You know what I mean? If you actually wanted to try to accomplish this. But the real purpose of this is to make it unsustainable for any agency anywhere to perpetrate this kind of blasphemy. If you know of a company that is operating this manner and giving this service away to law enforcement agencies, they should be a pariah. They should be all over your social media. Figure out where they're at and make sure that they no longer provide this service free of charge to law enforcement agencies. Now, back to the actual story at hand. The reporting that I've seen says that they have recovered the 1911. He had it on him still, but they have not recovered those shotguns. So those shotguns are in the wind somewhere. He's sold them to somebody or squirreled them away. So my question is this. If somebody's been on the force for 18 years, how many opportunities have they had to perpetrate similar types of activity? And I would draw into question, what is the link between dirty cops just seeing something there and being like, oh, that's not going to get reported? I mean, we broke the story a couple months ago about the DC Police Department being the largest source of illegal weapons in the locale. So how much of the weapons trafficking is actually being perpetrated by the law enforcement agencies whose job it is to supposedly remove this sort of stuff from our streets? Again, gun buybacks are not the solution. They never have been the solution. They've never been a fully baked ideology. And the truth of the matter is, gun buybacks create crime guns. And here it is right in front of you. If it's in one place, then it's in a lot more places. This one just happened to rise to the top. Anyway, that's all I have for you guys today. I got a cool video that I'm currently working on from the range, and hopefully it'll be done this week sometime. Thank you very much for tuning in to the VSO Gun Channel, and we'll see you on another video, hopefully here pretty soon.